What is up, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Danny Show. I'm your host, Daniel Cody, and this is where I give commentary and reviews on all things wrestling. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let's get started because today is the birthday of a few people. But today, I'm going to give you a review on my top 10 favorite matches from Dolph Ziggler, aka now known as Nic Nemeth. Now, let's get started at number 10. We have Dolph Ziggler versus another man celebrating his birthday today, the COO of WWE, everyone's favorite man, Triple H. This took place on an episode of Monday Night Raw, March the 14th, 2016. It was a non-title match with Triple H as the WWE champion. However, Dolph Ziggler put on an amazing match against Triple H. So much so that it had Stephanie McMahon concerned during many parts of the match. Even though Dolph Ziggler did not win this match, it was a big push to be able to hang with one of the great legends of the WWE, who also celebrates his birthday today. Happy birthday to the game. Next on this list, we have Braun Breaker versus Dolph Ziggler at NXT TakeOver Stand and Deliver 2022 WrestleMania 38 weekend in Dallas. And this was the main event as Dolph Ziggler was the NXT champion and was defending against Braun Breaker. Now, we did see outside interferences from the glorious Bobby Roode, who was aligned with Dolph Ziggler. However, these two had a pretty good main event in my personal opinion. And in this main event, Dolph Ziggler did find a way to defeat Braun Breaker. More dangerous than evil, I believe his shirt says. And Dolph Ziggler was able to retain against Braun Breaker. Next on this list at number 8, we have, to me, this was really good. At Extreme Rules 2018, we have Dolph Ziggler versus Seth freaking Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship in a 30-minute Iron Man match. And the match was good in itself, although Drew McIntyre, or should I say Caillou McIntyre, helped Seth Rollins win a score by interfering in the match, which was a dumb move. However, Dolph Ziggler did manage to get enough points on the scoreboard so that near the end of the 30 minutes, the match could be held a tie. Now, they had to go into overtime because the match was a tie, and Kurt Angle insisted on it being a finish, a decisive winner. So they had the match, and due to dirty tactics, less than a minute later, Dolph Ziggler would win the match, keeping his Intercontinental Championship that he won from Seth Rollins on an episode of Raw, I believe. And also, the irony, because Drew McIntyre was the guy who helped Dolph Ziggler defeat Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is going to be the special guest referee in their match at SummerSlam against CM Punk. Oh, the irony. Going forward at number 7, I will do this in honor of the late, great Luke Harper. I put at number 7, Dolph Ziggler versus Luke Harper for the Intercontinental Championship in a ladder match to open up the pay-per-view of TLC. At the time, Luke Harper, God rest his soul, was the Intercontinental Champion. And we opened up the show with a very tremendous match for the championship. A championship where they saw the ladders, lots of ladders being used as weapons. But in the end of the match, it would be Dolph Ziggler who would regain the Intercontinental Championship from Luke Harper. Another ladder match at number 6, we have Dolph Ziggler winning the Money in the Bank ladder match in 2012. This match also included himself, Christian Cage, who loves talking about dead dads, Cody Rhodes, who is now WWE champion, among other greats. But in this particular match, it was Dolph Ziggler who stopped I Like Dead Dads, Christian Cage, from catching the briefcase and then going up the ladder to win the Money in the Bank briefcase for himself. And when he eventually cashed in on Alberto Del Rio 24 hours after WrestleMania, it was met with a huge ovation from the New Jersey crowd. Next, at number 12, another ladder match. As we can obviously see, Dolph is a ladder match specialty. At number 5, we have Dolph Ziggler putting his briefcase on the line against none other than the Invisible Man, John Cena, at TLC 2013. No, that was 12, excuse me. TLC 2012. It was a great match, John Cena versus Dolph Ziggler, and this whole thing came because of a storyline involving accusations that Cena was getting into it with AJ Lee. However, this match, as great as it was met with a great plot twist. And that great plot twist was, as AJ Lee came and fought off Vicky Guerrero, it was left for John Cena to climb the ladder. And plot twist, AJ Lee shoved John Cena off the ladder, which was a double cross, which led to Dolph Ziggler winning the match and becoming AJ Lee's boyfriend. Pretty shocking plot twist. I don't think we saw that coming. Next on this list, at number 4, we have Dolph Ziggler and Caillou McIntyre, as I like to call him, Drew McIntyre, against 2/3 of the Shield, Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, now known as Jon Moxley. Oh, the irony again, because Seth Rollins is a special guest referee in Drew McIntyre's match at SummerSlam next Saturday. But in this particular match at Hell in a Cell 2018, it was a great classic. Once again, Dolph Ziggler opened the show and stole the show. If I'm not mistaken, that's how they opened the show that way. But ironically, as they had that tag team match, it was a great tag team match. And for those of you who have not seen my Drew McIntyre review last year, I actually put this match on my favorite Drew McIntyre matches. But the reason I am putting it on this match is because, as great as the match was, what makes it special for Dolph Ziggler is that Dolph Ziggler got the pinfall for the team to win the tag team championships, the Raw tag team championships I'm speaking of. Next on this list, at number 3, we have a classic No Mercy 2016 match involving Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. Now, this whole thing was done because it was said that Dolph Ziggler could not win the big one and could not seem to find a way to overcome The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship. And they had built a great rivalry on SmackDown that needed to be somewhat put to an end. So they came up with the stipulation that if Dolph wins, he becomes Intercontinental Champion. But if Dolph loses, he leaves. So, what better place to have it than at No Mercy? They fought, and we saw a lot of interferences from old Spirit Squads. Anyone remember the Spirit Squads? Terrible, right? But in any event, the Spirit Squad interfere on The Miz's behalf. We saw The Miz become very resilient, overcoming super kicks and zigzags, which is Dolph Ziggler's ultimate finisher. We saw resilience from Dolph Ziggler as well, overcoming not one, but 2 skull-crushing finales, and eventually a super kick, much like Sweet Chin Music from Shawn Michaels, on one good leg and one good shoe, by the way, would win the match, and Dolph Ziggler will become Intercontinental Champion and keep his contract in WWE. Next on this list at number 2, we have Dolph Ziggler at Survivor Series 2014. Why is this match on the list? Because while John Cena was the captain of Team WWE versus Team Authority, John Cena had himself, Ryback, Big Show, Dolph Ziggler, and the Big Show. Did I say Big Show already? Yeah. Now, here's where the plot twist comes in. The Big Show, who was with John Cena, turned on John Cena for him to be eliminated, and then the Big Show walked out, leaving Dolph Ziggler all alone, having to overcome Kane, and of course Seth freaking Rollins. With interference from Triple H, we thought Team Authority was going to stay in power, and everyone was going to be fired, including Eric Rowan, amongst others. However, we saw outside interferences from former TNA legend and WCW legend Sting, who came to fight on the behalf of Team Cena and Dolph Ziggler, who was the last man standing. Dolph Ziggler would pin Seth Rollins and become the sole survivor, hence fighting on the behalf of John Cena and Team WWE, putting the Authority out of business temporarily. Thank you, Sting, for helping Dolph Ziggler. Now, at number 1, we go to TNA Wrestling Slammiversary, and this is where now known as Nic Nemeth, Dolph Ziggler would have to fight off Cass, Josh Alexander, Stevie, Moose, and of course the man we all believe in, Joe Hendry. And obviously, we almost did believe in Joe Hendry when he eliminated Moose, who not only was the champion at the time, but ironically came to Canada looking almost like Cody Rhodes. And it had me thinking, we would have loved to have TNA champion versus WWE champion at the time, have Cody Rhodes versus Moose. That would have been good. But in any event, Joe Hendry eliminated Moose, guaranteeing a new champion. Josh Alexander turned heel after going for the low blow and ambushing Joe Hendry in elimination, leaving it with Nic Nemeth and Cass. And of course, God don't like ugly, because Josh Alexander didn't get anything accomplished because he got eliminated by Nic Nemeth, leaving both Nick and Cass, who still has not been TNA champion, one-on-one. In the end, Nick would win and become the TNA World Heavyweight Champion in the main event of Slammiversary, the same night where we saw referee Earl Hebner do the right thing. Can we forgive referee? Did I say Earl? I said Earl, right? Okay, good. I wanted to make sure I didn't say another name. Earl Hebner did the right thing. I almost said another name. God rest his soul. But can we forgive Earl now? Nonetheless, Dolph Ziggler, a.k.a. Nic Nemeth, wins the TNA World Championship. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who do you think was the greatest match that Dolph Ziggler had? But until next time, I'm your host, Dan Cody. That's all the time I have for you today. And I'll be back with another review on all things wrestling. Peace. Finally, it was him. For years we said it should have been me. Now it is him.